I'm Shiva.
I'm Sandy.
And this is
Our Relaxing Hobby. Hello.
Hi.
Today's episode we're going to talk about substrate. Okay, yep. Basically that means the bottom stuff on the bottom of the tank.
Right, gravel or
because,
sand.
When she first used the big word, Sandy was like, what are you saying?
Gravel versus sand. Make sense?
Yeah, I understand. Gravel. Always. No, No. But for my fish.
For your fish, yes. For my
But for the way I do.
Well, it also depends on what kind of fish you have. I have some very specific fish that need some very specific substrate. Substrate is your bottom stuff. Most people use gravel, some people use sand.
Some use nothing.
Some use nothing.
We have one tank that's that,
yeah, and we're going to talk about the pros and cons to all of these things and how to properly care for cleaning, which is important.
Right.
Gravel is not just there to hide the ugly stuff. It really isn't. No. Don't even let them think that it is.
It is not. It actually has a purpose, especially for certain types of fish.
Right. So we're going to start by talking a little bit about what the substrate does. I'm going to keep calling it substrate because that's a catch-all.
That's the big word?
Yeah, that's
the big word of the day.
Yep, I get 75 cents for that word every time I use it. So
I wish.
Yep,
I use substrate a lot. Substrate.
Substrate song.
Yeah, we're making a song up. Great.
Yeah. But substrate is generally important. It helps with your biosystem a lot. Sand not as much as the gravel does, but
yeah, I've never used sand. That's something we'll talk about later. Different ways of cleaning and things. But I've never needed to use the sand. I've always used gravel and/or rock.
Right.
Small rock.
You always want to use substrate except for very, very specific reasons. I do have one tank that does not have substrate in it, and I'll be talking about why it doesn't. But for the most part, you're going to want something on the bottom and not just to make your aquarium look pretty. Now, they come in all kinds of different colors and shapes. Like you can get the different colored gravel that is like neon glowing, and
I mean, there's 100 different kinds of gravel colors. There's rock.
Right.
There's sand. The sand comes in different colors.
You can get different colors sand.
So there's a variety. So there's always something for everyone. Just kind of keep in mind that in most situations you're going to have something on the bottom of the tank.
Right. Now we're gonna give you a quick little tip for those of you who are thrifty. If you go into pet stores, generally they are going to charge you an arm and a leg for the gravel. It is a fact of life. They will charge you, 20, 30
and
bucks.
And the more colory the gravel, the more pretty or neon, or the more expensive it's going to be.
Right. Now, if you're doing this on a budget, or if you have a lot of tanks that need a lot of gravel, there's a little trick that we use. And that is by going to our local hardware store, like Home Depot, Lowe's, Ace, any place that sells gardening supplies. You can get what is known as pea gravel. You can also use.
Now I don't think it comes in colors.
Well, lava rock does.
Okay, yeah, so the pea gravel comes in I think 2 colors, like brown or white.
Yeah, but you can also get marble, which can come in white or black.
Right.
You can get the lava rock, which comes in like red.
I've never used a lava rock, so I don't know.
Yeah, lava rock is iffy because it's sharp, so you have to be very careful.
Yeah, so that's
you
not
want the rounded thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you go to the landscaping store, you're going to find all kinds of there's even the stuff that you use for drains, which is salt and pepper color.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of color variations that you can get with natural rock that people use for landscaping. The trick is to wash it well.
Rinse it well because it's got a lot of dirt, sediment, sand.
So you're going to want to rinse it very, very well before you put it in
the pea gravel. The pea gravel has a lot of sand in it.
So you're basically going to want to take a big bag. You can get a big bag anywhere from a couple bucks.
$4. $3 and some change was what it was.
Yeah, but it depends on the type of rock.
Yeah.
The lava rock's a little bit more expensive than the pea gravel. The cheapest is definitely the stuff that they use for drains. Okay. The marble that they use for drains, and that you can get for $2 a bag. And it's a big bag too. It's like a 40-pound bag. That beats the heck out of spending $30 for like a 10 pound bag.
Yeah.
But you have to wash it really carefully. You have to set it in. You can't just dump it in. You might break your aquarium, so you have to set it in.
Yeah, that's the thing that you have to kind of pay attention. If you're pouring in gravel or rocks, like I have rocks, mostly rocks in a big tank. You have to put it a little bit at a time. You can't just dump it on in there.
Without cracking the bottom of your aquarium.
Because you're cracking the bottom of your aquarium full of water.
Yeah.
Bad idea.
Or if you're just setting up your tank, you're dropping it just flat in without even the water cushioning the fall.
Yeah, the water cushions the fall a little bit, but not enough. It will crack it.
Yeah.
Just kind of be careful. Keep that in the back of your mind. You have to put it in slowly. The heavier the type of gravel. So.
Yeah, but that's an inexpensive way to get a lot of substrate down without spending, you know, 40, 50 bucks on, you know, gravel. If you are the type that it has to be a certain color or whatnot, by all means save your money up, buy the type of gravel you want. Now let's talk a little bit about the different types of substrate. We'll talk about the two most common, which is gravel and sand.
Right.
And we'll start with gravel because it's usually what people get.
Yeah. And gravel, and keep in mind, when I say rock, it's just a little bit larger gravel. It's not really...
Like pebbles.
They're pebbles, yeah. They're not, I'm not talking big, huge rocks. Oh, go ahead, yeah. Go ahead. There's two main types. Gravel, which is the most common, I think.
Yeah, gravel is pretty much the most common because it comes in the most colors.
Right.
It's more easy. It's easier to take care of.
Right.
Gravel is actually easier than sand.
Right.
Most people, when you think of an aquarium, you think gravel, toys, you know, and a filter. You know,
right.
Maybe some lights and some plants. That's
right.
generally how what beginners start out with.
Right.
So,
usually comes in a starter kit.
Yeah, gravel will sometimes come in the very kit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The gravel will come in the kit with you.
First of all, remember that your substrate is helping your biosystem. It's helping because it's giving more area for the bacteria, the beneficial bacteria in your tank to sit on.
Right.
And gravel gives all kinds of nooks and crannies for that.
Correct.
For that. So
we'll get to cleaning in a little while, but yes.
So when you're putting in gravel, you're going to want what? About 2 inches of gravel?
I would say, yeah. I mean, I guess about, I don't know, an inch, 2 inches.
Yeah,
depends on the size of your tank.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, the more gravel you use, the less fish you can have per gallon. I mean, because it does take up space. So, you know, as long as you have at least maybe an inch, I think it just depends on what you...
It depends on the fish.
Yeah, it depends on the size of the tank. And, I mean, there's so many variables.
Yeah, but you're going to want at least an inch.
At least an inch.
Some people, like Gareth, gets completely crazy if he sees even a little bit of the bottom of the tank on the aquarium. Yeah, the fish will move around, the jets or whatnot, the air bubbles. He goes crazy if he sees like a bear. Oh yeah, he'll sit there and we need more rocks. So
I actually, just to be funny, I mean, I have rocks, I have small pebble rocks in mine, and when I moved my smaller tank, it had gravel. Well, I also had some baby guppies in that gravel. We moved it over with water in it so we wouldn't kill the baby guppies by catching them. And Gareth and I dumped the smaller tank into the larger tank. When we did that, we dumped all the gravel on top of the rocks. So I was trying to even it out because, my OCD was just like, oh, I can't handle that the gravel's not evenly spaced. But I've got a whole section of the back corner that I haven't covered with gravel yet that it's still... I'm like, I'm not buying more gravel. I can handle this. I know, but I'm saying.
Half a bag.
Yeah, I know. No, I mean, I have the rocks. It would have to cover it, and it wouldn't be even gravel. I want to even out the gravel, so it's just a silly thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's.
Well, my tanks, I do whole landscaping where there's some thick spots and some thin spots.
Yeah, her tank. I want to get out there with a rake.
No, it's there for a reason. They're hiding like my air stones or my stuff like that.
In my other tank, I used the rocks to hide where my plant bases were, just to make it look prettier. I would put more rocks there. So I mean, it's also it's aesthetics as well.
Yeah, because I use terracotta pots for my plants, so I don't have to hide them. But I also use like air stones or air wands, and I have to cover them with rocks so you don't see these big plastic things in the bottom.
Right. It's
plus it also stops the fish from messing with them too.
Yeah, I was saying my fish like to mess with the air wand. They would. The cories would get up underneath it, and I would have to put rocks on top of it to hold it in place because the cories get underneath there and move it, and I'd come in and the wand would be in the front of the tank.
Oh, yeah.
Because sometimes fish are a little crazy. But anyway, it's more for, the biosystem. I mean, it is to look pretty and it is to help you hide things, but it is beneficial. Yeah, and it is something you need. Okay.
Right. So, gravel being everybody's first or usual first thing.
It's easier to maintain.
Is easier to maintain than sand. It's easier to clean per se. Now, when it comes to cleaning aquariums, Sandy and I have two different ways of doing this.
Right.
She does it the easy way, I do it the hard way.
She does it a little differently, but I do it the vacuum, so I just literally suction up the nasty out of it, and it leaves all the clear water on the top, and then I just add more water, and after I wipe down the sides and everything, I'm pretty much good to go. So it's easier for the smaller tanks. I'm not sure how it's going to work with the bigger tank yet, but I'll let you know. But
Well,
then
I
we'll
can
get to
tell
the way
yeah.
Shiva does hers is a little different, and there's, you know, the gravel and the sand is a little different from mine, but go ahead with that.
Yeah. Basically what I do is I do a complete clean instead of using the vacuum, because tend to have bigger tanks, much bigger tanks than little 20s. Most of mine are 55.
So it's not really feasible to
75.
do the little mini things that I
Right.
do.
And especially not with the indoor koi pond, which is, 1,000 gallons. We're not vacuuming that every day or every week even. Koi would go nuts. So what I do is I do a complete tank clean. I suction out some of the water from a tank, put it into a holding tank, move all the fish to the holding tank, completely drain out the tank in my aquarium, take it out, hose down all the gravel. The only thing I don't hose down is the filters, and I use filters that contain the water, submersible filters. I leave those going because that's where all my good bacteria is. Put everything back in and then reintroduce my fish to the new water by,
Slowly.
either bagging them or doing the water exchange.
Yeah, a lot more complex than what I do.
It's more complex, it takes more time, but I don't have to do it as frequently.
Right.
And basically, I take a little net. If I see a bunch of uneaten food somewhere, I'll take a net and scoop that out as, on a daily thing, which is common for like the roe fish that want to leave leave a mealworm here and there. Now I do a water change on everybody at least once a week, and when I move things around, I'll find like the uneaten mealworm, and I'll just net that out.
Right, so you do a partial cleaning still. I mean, it's not a full cleaning.
I do a partial cleaning.
It's like not every week. She empties it out. I mean, that doesn't have anything to do with the substrate per se, but it does
get the extra food out.
And stuff, so it doesn't. The substrate lasts longer.
Right.
So it is a little different.
Yes, but I clean out the substrate, and that's how I do it.
Right.
Now, hers is easier. Most people prefer vacuuming to what I do. I just do mine because it's easier for me to just hit all the tanks and just have a day dedicated, afternoon to handle all of my tanks all at once. Well, another reason I have to do that is because 2 of mine have sand in them. And it's
that was our next, is the sand.
It's the sand.
The sand is a little different. You cannot vacuum sand. You cannot use the
try.
vacuum. Yeah, you can try, but you're going to get
You're gonna clog up a lot.
You're going to clog up. You're going to get all the sand in the vacuum, and it's not going to do any good for you at all.
Right.
So
I'll tell you a little bit about why I chose sand for 2 of my tanks.
Right.
The reason why I chose sand is because of the types of fish that are in there, and they are bottom dwellers. The rope fish, and I've got some designer plecos, my croc rhino plecos.
Right.
And they have soft underbellies, and they like throwing around, and I don't want them getting damaged by gravel, because gravel can have sharp edges and whatnot. So I use sand.
Bottom dwelling fish, such as the rope fish, it really is recommended.
Right, and then also
sand.
a lot of saltwater uses sand as well, a lot of saltwater fish.
Right, because they're very expensive fish, and you
Yeah,
don't
you
want to get them scratched up. Because, I mean, my fish like to, sometimes they'll go along the bottom and just scrape themselves, like dead scales and such. And with, the bottom dwellers, their bellies and stuff are softer, so they...
Right, so you want to do sand, but you also want to have something for them to be able to rub against if they want to.
So they have to have some...
their toys.
Yep.
Whether it's rocks, like I've got some big stones and by big stones I mean like this, not like little teeny pebbles, but also like their toys. They have some rough edges on their toys, like their little mangrove thing and whatnot. So if they need to rub against something, they've got something, but because they are...
But it's not on a constant basis where they would hurt themselves.
Right, that's why I use sand instead of gravel. So it really just depends on what type of fish you're keeping. Now, you can mix the fish, like in the roe fish tank. I mean,
honestly, you can't have sand in any tank. It's just harder to clean. It's not that it's not that you can't. It's just keep in the back of your mind, sand cannot be vacuumed. Sand has to be dumped out.
Now, because of the fact that you want the bacteria buildup too, if you have sand, you are going to want more toys in there. Like you're going to want either some stones in there or whatnot, something to gather the bacteria.
Right, because the sand is so fine.
The sand is very fine. It doesn't hold bacteria as well.
And you want bacteria growth. So. Yeah, I mean, so like you said, I mean, she has a lot of, notices a lot of different little things in her with her sand. So, but yeah, sand is a little harder to maintain, but it is pretty. It looks nice.
Yeah. Now the problem with sand is if you can get it at landscaping shops, only you're going to have to wash it 100 times. So if you're going to use sand, it is better to get it from the pet stores and get the pre-washed stuff that you just dump and go.
Right.
It's going to cost you. You're going to pay for that, but unless you want to spend all day, and I kid you not, it's not one of those you just rinse it and go. No, you're going to be washing like clay sand that they buy from sandboxes and stuff like that. You're going to be washing that, 20 times before it's safe to put into an aquarium. So if you're going to go with sand, go with the
So that is a little
sand.
more expensive.
Yeah.
And then there's the other option, which is nothing in the
Nothing
bottom.
at the bottom.
And there's a reason for that in certain instances.
Yeah.
In your case.
Yeah, I have one tank that has nothing in the bottom, and the reason for it is because that's where I keep newborn plecos. And newborn plecos, if you have, this holds true with any type of collection of animals, especially if you're breeding, you're going to have deaths. It's just a fact of life.
Yeah.
And you're going to have little decomposing bodies all over the place, and I need to be able to see them.
Right.
I need to be able to get them out.
Right. There were a lot of plecos at one point.
Yeah, I might start out with like 70 plecos.
Well, I mean, just well, the reason we set that tank up originally was because I brought the 50 or 60 babies,
yeah,
at least, if not more. And
Right.
she was like, we need to leave because we thought we were going to lose a lot more than we lost.
yeah, we actually didn't lose it tonight, but
Yeah.
you're going to lose some, and you're going to want to get those dead fish out of there quickly. So that's why I have one tank that doesn't have any substrate in it. It's very, very simple for me to be able to scoop out little bodies. And also when you're dealing with small fish like that, it's very easy to overfeed them, especially plecos. I throw the pleco wafers not knowing how many I have.
Right, and then if they don't
And
eat it,
then
you
if
can
they don't
scoop it
eat
out.
it, you can see it, scoop it out real quick.
Right.
So that is the only reason why I have one tank that doesn't have any substrate.
Right, but she also has lots of plants in there and
Yes.
things like that to have the
And I
bacteria.
changed the water
And the
for
plants have
regular.
rocks in them, so it helps with the bacteria there. And plus you maintain the filter with the bacteria in it. So, I
Yeah.
mean, keep in mind, she goes out of her way to make sure that they still have the good bacteria.
Yeah, if
So-
you're going to go with no substrate, you absolutely have to have stuff that the bacteria can grow on. Plants, toys,
Something.
a few rocks, a really good filtration system. And it's
important.
not going to look as good because you're going to see all the fish poop and all the uneaten food and stuff right there. at
Right,
the
which you
bottom.
don't see with gravel.
So I don't recommend not having a substrate unless you have that very specific reason.
Right, yeah, I would suggest, for beginners, honestly, I would suggest gravel because it is the easiest medium to keep clean.
Yeah.
Or just to clean out with the vacuum. And a vacuum is not always pleasant. I mean, some people actually use a little vacuum thing. I just, put it in my mouth and suck to get the water flowing. I knew that was going to start something. But, there was a little
Yeah.
vacuum. There's a little thing that you can use, a little handheld pump, which is funny in itself. But
Yeah,
I'm
this show is...
telling you. But, it's just faster. It is so much easier to use it if you have a smaller tank, to just do that really quickly and then just add some water and go about your day. The bigger tanks, I'm not sure that's going to work with my bigger tank now because I have the 55 now, so I'm not sure.
Garrett was using a vacuum for a while. He had bought a vacuum for our larger tanks. Works the same way. It's
Does it? Just so it takes a little bit
it
longer.
just takes longer.
Yeah.
That's why it was
But
just
yeah.
like, screw it, let's just do it my way.
Whatever works for you, yeah. She just likes to be in control.
No, it's just I'm the one who mostly maintains
I know.
them.
But yeah, the vacuum for me works great. We'll see how it works on the bigger tank. I'm going to try it out in a couple weeks. So,
We'll be getting footage of that.
oh god.
You can watch
Watch me
Sandy
Sandy
suck.
suck. I'm just such a pervert. But anyway, no, that's really the main three types of 3.5 kind of ish
Right.
types of substrate. But substrate again is very important. And yes, it is not just to look pretty, although, it does look cool depending on how you set your tank up.
Yeah.
So, and if you have any questions about that or any type of substrate or what type of fish you have, what type is best for your fish, by all means comment below and we would be happy to research it if we don't know and let you know.
Yeah.
And by all means, like and subscribe to our page. We need more viewers and get your friends too. And we'd be happy to answer any questions that they have.
We do have a Patreon page now. We are raising money in order to expand the show.
Trying to get out of the house a little
Try to
bit.
get out of the house a little bit. We've got some field trips planned to be able to introduce.
So we need your help.
to-
So by all means,
Okay.
help.
Yes, basically we have it set up where our regular patrons start with our newsletter, which includes things that we don't necessarily show on our regular show here, because you can imagine what that's like considering what you see now, it gets worse.
Better, worse, depends on your point of view.
Yeah. Also some special videos that are reserved just for our patrons. We further on other tiers, depending on your patronage subscription. We also have some cool perks, our fishy supporter t-shirts, all kinds of cool stuff.
So by all means, support us on that, and we would really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And we look forward to hearing from you. And again, you take care, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah. have fun.
Oh wait, the
And-
link is below, isn't it?
Yeah, the link.
Look at the link below.
Yeah, link. All the
Link
links
below.
Links you need are below. Also, you can leave your comments below. We do get
Below is a
them.
good thing.
Yes, below.
It's all a woman thing. Sorry.
No, it's a fish thing.
Oh, sorry. Below
Yeah.
is fish thing.
Fish thing, below the water. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
below the line. We're horrible. Anyway.
Huh. Alrighty. But anyway,
Yes. Even if
thank you for watching.
I was going to tell them if they have any suggestions for future shows or any things that they'd like to
Oh,
see
absolutely,
us cover.
absolutely.
Leave a comment below.
Below. Yes, comments are wonderful. We love comments. We haven't gotten enough of them. So you guys take care of yourselves, and hopefully we'll get some of those comments going.
Yep.
Take care.
Bye.